Hello everyone, this is Griffin. He is almost 3 months old now. I can't believe it. And I wanted to tell you guys my crazy birth experience before it got too far out and I forgot details. I probably did forget some stuff because it was just an excruciating amount of pain. It kind of sends you into another world, another dimension. But I'm gonna do my best to tell you guys. But first, let me just play you the little clip that I filmed because I was intending on vlogging the whole thing, thinking that I'd have way more time than I actually had. So here's that. Hey guys! Long time no see. I am 38 weeks and 4 days pregnant today, I believe. And I've been having contractions all day long. This morning they started feeling just like period pains, and it still feels like that, but like really intense to the point where it's hard for me to stand up and it's hard to talk through them, but I can still. It just like takes my breath away so much that it's really hard to talk through them, but they're super irregular. So I've been having them consistently, like sometimes they'll come every 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes they'll be every 9 minutes, all day long since 6:30 this morning. So I don't know what we're gonna do. It's currently almost 4:50. If they continue like this for probably another hour or two or get worse, then I think our plan is going to be to go down to my mom's house. She lives much closer to the hospital than we do. We live on a mountain. It's about an hour, almost an hour and a half away from the hospital. So, oh God, I feel another one coming. Hold on one sec. Okay, sorry about that. I wanted to time it because I'm trying to keep track in my app, but yeah, it's so much worse than it was this morning. Now it's like, oh my God, I can't breathe. And it's making me very nervous. So I will update you if something else happens. I just made myself some raspberry leaf tea. I've heard that it can help progress labor, like help the second phase of it go faster. I know it helps menstrual cramps, so maybe it'll help labor pains. Probably not. I don't think much can help labor pains other than meds. Well, I'll check back in with you guys whenever there is progress. Alright, so I want to say around, I probably said it in the other clip, but around 6:30-ish, 6:45 a.m. I started feeling what felt like mild period pains, but it wasn't actually contracting my stomach in a tightening way. So I had Braxton Hicks contractions, which if you don't know what those are, they're like practice contractions. I had those for months and they were monitoring me very closely for a while. And actually one of the nurses that I saw the week before was like, I don't think you'll be here for your monitoring next week, because I was getting so many of them. But nothing was really happening. It was just kind of the tightening feeling over and over and over again. Some days I really had to take it easy because they would not chill out. But that morning I only had the mild feeling of like that pain. It didn't even really hurt though, and it wasn't tightening. And then later on I got up and that feeling went away, but I was getting the Braxton Hicks type feeling again, and it was kind of sporadic. It would happen every couple minutes, and then it would happen every 15 minutes, and then every 5, and then every 2, and then every 7, like all over the place. So it was really random, and I was keeping in contact with my mom about it, but she didn't think that it was anything for me to call the hospital about because it was so sporadic. And so I just kept an eye on it. That had actually happened many times in the past, so I thought it was probably just another false alarm. They did start to get more intense throughout the day. Eventually, probably by like 2 p.m., I don't even really remember the time, but it was in the afternoon, they were getting to the point where I kind of had to stop and catch my breath. They weren't so bad that I couldn't talk through them, but it was harder to speak through them. That was not something that I had experienced before. I just kept timing them, and they were still all over the place with rest, they would kind of not stop, but like slow down. And then the second I would get up and start trying to pack my bags and get everything ready just in case. I had almost everything ready, but you know, there were little things that I had to throw in last minute. And anytime I would try and do that, they would speed up and come a lot more frequently. And I think by 4:30-ish, I had lost the rest of my mucus plug. I had lost the first little bit of it 2 or 3 days before, but it was hardly anything. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. I actually have been in labor today. This is wild. And from there, everything just happened so fast. So I started calling my mom and my dad. Whoa, that was the weirdest timing ever. The second I said that I called my dad, he called me. So yeah, it was keeping everybody updated. I just wanted them to know what was going on just in case throughout the day. And then that happened and I was like, okay, this is it. And yeah, you can continue labor for a while after that, but I wasn't due for several more weeks. And with the way that things are picking up, I just knew that it was the real deal. Started trying to get everything together, but the more that I was walking around the house, the worse it got. And it was to the point where I could hardly stand up. It was so bad. I couldn't talk through them after probably like an hour. And it felt like I had to poop, to be honest with you, but I didn't. That's just something that happens in labor. I was trying to because we live up on the mountain and it's an hour and 15 minutes to the hospital down a windy road, and I really didn't want to have to poop my pants or poop on the side of the road if I had to go on the way down while I was in labor. But yeah, I couldn't. And I was like, dang it, and that kind of delayed things. So I'm trying to pack everything, and things were getting tense, and I was starting to feel nauseous, and I was like, oh no. That usually happens towards the end, like transition time. Yeah, it was really bad to the point that I was nervous that we wouldn't make it. At the same time, I was like, this is my first baby. There's no way. It probably just feels way more intense than I was expecting. I'm keeping my mom updated and she's like, you have to go. So we leave and within 10 minutes, I am in such excruciating pain and my body is pushing. I was like, what is this sensation? This is not good. I know that this usually happens at the very end. I don't know why I'm feeling that right now because I haven't been in what I thought was active labor for that long. So why do I feel this sensation right now and nauseous? And it was just a pain that you cannot describe. You won't understand it unless you go through it. The contractions were coming every 2 to 3 minutes at that point. We had probably an hour and 5 minutes or so to get to the hospital. It was so bad that I was like stretched into the back seat. I was trying my best to find a way that I could actually breathe through them because you really have to focus on breathing and like not just your breathing techniques to help you get through it, but it takes effort to breathe because they're so painful.
Hey mama, doing so good mama. Breathing. Bone breathing. He's coming.
On the way down, we kept getting stuck behind other cars and they were going so slow and it's like one way up and down. Grayson was talking to his mom. At one point he asked her what one of the game scores was. I don't know what sport it was. I forgot. Baseball or something. And I wanted to murder him at that moment. His mom was asking how far apart my contractions were, and I told her, and she was like, okay, you need to call an ambulance if things get too crazy. But we had hardly any signal. His call kept dropping. It just was a long, long way down that mountain road, especially when you're in labor. It feels way longer than it really is. So we get to the bottom of the mountain. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. I'm trying so hard to like hold my legs together because I feel like this baby's gonna shoot out of me. And I call my mom when I have signal and I tell her my body is trying to push. And she was like, okay, you need to get to the hospital as soon as possible. I'm on my way. I think she told me at that part that she thinks I'm in transition, which is like the very end of labor and the quickest part of labor, which is really terrifying when you're on the road and have not had a baby before. I don't know how some people do that. Fast forward and we get to the hospital and I cannot speak. Grayson runs in and grabs a wheelchair for me. He wheels me in. They're like asking me my name and stuff. And I'm like, really? In the middle of a freaking contraction, I cannot tell you what my name is. I can't even think what my name is. And he had to talk for me. They got me into the room and they're like, oh, here, pee in this cup and let's get you dressed and blah, blah, blah. I couldn't pee because his head was right there. I felt like he was gonna fall out. I tried and tried to pee and I couldn't, and I was just standing up, well, like leaning over on Grayson for support because I was in the most pain, like I've said 20 times. So I told her, I'm sorry, I can't pee. She said, that's okay. So she has me lay down on the bed and she checks to see how dilated I am at that point for the first time. When she did, my water burst and it went all over her arm. Like, it was a movie moment. And they were asking Grayson questions over the phone. He's being asked all of these things over the phone right next to me as my water's bursting and I'm like trying not to have this baby yet. She cleans her arm off and then checks again and she's like, okay, you're at a 9. And I kid you not, within probably less than 5 minutes, I was telling her I need to push as she's getting my IV set up and everything. And she checks me again and it was time. I was completely dilated to a 10.
Oh, great. You're gonna have your baby soon. You're gonna have your baby soon. You okay? Hey, I know this is intense. Breathe, it's temporary, okay? Do your breathing. You're gonna have a baby so soon. Just think about that, how wonderful and amazing that is. Oh my gosh, thank God you guys got down the hill.
I told you.
What's up with that? The
No,
first
you
baby's
told me
supposed
we
to
were
take
too
a long
late.
time.
We timed it
I told
perfectly.
you that I'm afraid of too late. Oh my God, my lips are so dry.
Do you want some chapstick?
I have some.
Okay, you can do that. Everybody's freaking out. So, no epidural time or anything, right? No. Okay.
She calls everybody in. She told me, you're about to meet a bunch of people. I want to say 10 to 15 people came into the room.
If you need to. Yep. Yep. Breathe. Breathe. Okay. Where can I see if the contractions are going down?
You can't really.
You can't tell.
You can tell.
You're
see,
okay.
See the mountain happening right now.
You're okay. You're okay. You've got all these amazing doctors and nurses here to take care of you. You're going to be just fine, sweetie.
The baby did poop inside, and okay, so we're gonna have a specialty team here, just in case the baby needs a little.
They had checked at one point and saw that he had pooped inside of me, so they had a specialist team there to make sure he didn't ingest anything, I guess, or like inhale. I don't really know how that works. I'm sorry, am I interrupting your nap? Spoiler alert, luckily he had not, but they were concerned because his heart rate was dropping when I was pushing. He was kind of getting stressed out, and so they had to assist. They had to assist with the vacuum suction thingy, like a big suction cup that goes on his head, and try and get him out quicker. It was getting to the point that the doctor made me think that I was probably going to have a C-section if I didn't get him out quick enough. As he was looking at his heart rate, he was saying, we have to get this baby out. So that immediately made me so panicky, and I started pushing way harder. I had to take a little break to feed him. So I'm pushing, and it's really hard to push a baby out, but just the way that they were even monitoring his heart rate beforehand, before I started pushing, was making me extremely nervous, because it was almost like they couldn't hear it enough, or it sounded slower to me than what I was used to hearing. I was going to monitoring appointments twice a week for months, so I'm very familiar with what my baby's heart rate sounded like, and I was really nervous at that point, but I was just praying and hoping everything would be okay. And it was. Spoiler alert again. So I delivered him very, very quickly. We got to the hospital right before 8, like 7:50 something, and he was born at 8:35.
He's ready. Go, you go. You get the pictures. Oh, he's sucking his thumb.
That is super fast for someone's first labor. I did do a few things that TikTok told me would help speed up the labor, but because I thought it was going to be like over a day long maybe, I had no idea that I would not be laboring for that long and that it would be that close of a call. But thank God that we made it to the hospital and everything, because this little one had managed to tie his cord in a complete knot, and it was also wrapped around his neck pretty tightly. So I'm grateful that everything went as smoothly as it did, because it definitely could have been a scary situation. But he was healthy, everything looked great, and I'm just so grateful to have him. He was 5 pounds and 15 ounces. He was so little, 18 inches long. He was born on January 28th, and I wasn't due until February 12th. I'm just in shock that it happened that way. Oh yeah, do you want to put in your 2 cents? Was that a very overwhelming day for you too? I honestly was a little bit nervous on the way to the hospital because I hadn't felt him kick as much that day, and he was a very, very, very active, wiggly baby. I always call him my wiggle worm because no matter what time of day, he was wiggling. But that is it. I feel like I probably forgot some details. I can throw them in there if I did. If you have any questions, maybe I will do a video, like a Q&A on that experience, or just being a new mom, different things like that, whatever interests you. Let me know. You can comment below or message me. I appreciate you guys so much. Sorry I'm looking all over the place. I'm not used to filming anymore. And I'm very distracted by this little one. But yeah, I love and appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! 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 He's wearing the shirt that my sister gave him from Rome.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so cute.